We've had a huge number of really inspirational sessions today, great people talking. And what I'd like to give you a little bit of a flavour for is that you're not entirely alone, that as a governmental organisation, we at the Environment Agency are also playing a part in the good work that's being done. The Environment Agency is a non-departmental public body which is sort of owned by DEFRA in the corporate sense. Majority funded by government, but also has a number of other sources of income. Our three main areas of activity are around flood risk management, and Nick talked about that earlier, waste and industrial regulation about emissions and pollutants, and water quality. So what I'm going to do is give you a few words about water quality and then introduce the video about the Bude Cleaner Seas project with our local film stars, Ollie and Molly. I think they're in the audience today. The Environment Agency is a partner in the Bude Cleaner Seas project, and Dave Miller here is the EA bathing water champion, and I know has been doing fantastic work with Bruce and Nick. So I'm very proud of the work that they've been doing. I had a background in the oil industry, which might sound as if it's on the dark side, but actually oil companies that work very carefully have helped in their way deliver environmental effort, and not all of them, of course, work as well as others. But in joining the Environment Agency, the thing I've been massively impressed by, and which is a contrast with the oil industry, is the commitment of their staff to the work that's being done. Not because the oil industry people didn't want to do a good job, they all did. They all wanted to do a very professional job. But in the Environment Agency, not only are they doing a great professional job, they're all hugely committed to the work that they're doing. So bathing water quality continues to be a really big priority for the government and for the Environment Agency. And we're very conscious not just of it being important to keep the bathing waters clean, but that it's a big economic priority for the country, and particularly for Devon and Cornwall, and worth about £3.6 billion a year to our economy. And the good news is that thanks to investment and work that's being done, our beaches and rivers are cleaner than they have been since the Industrial Revolution. And over the last 20 years, we've made big steps to improve the quality of water. And that's thanks to the work of not just the Environment Agency, but the water companies, non-government organisations, individuals, farmers, and all the work that you've been doing here today. So it really has been a great collaborative effort. But we all know that there's more work to be done. And we've been hearing some things today that inspire us to do some of that work for the future. So in the Environment Agency, our commitment is about protecting people and wildlife, because we know there's nothing more rewarding than creating a better place. And that as we're doing that, it's also really important to help our country grow without damaging it, to grow in good ways rather than bad ways. And in doing that, we try to make that happen by focusing our effort on the 20% of activity that can deliver 80% of the benefits, because like every organisation, we're constrained with our resources and we have to make absolutely the best of what we've got available. And one of the ways we do that is by working with local communities. And I think what you've actually done here is an absolute beacon of how the Environment Agency, the water companies, other businesses, farmers, fishermen, the townspeople, homeowners can really collaborate together to deliver a really good outcome. And it should be a shining example for what other coastal towns should be doing. So I'm hoping at the end of today we'll actually talk about how we can publicise that a bit further. So I think that in terms of a few statistics, there's 144 monitored bathing waters in Devon and Cornwall, and that's out of 400 in England, so you've actually got something like a third of the country's bathing waters. And Bude's bathing waters are monitored every week from May to September, and the bathing water is given an annual classification based on 4 years of sampling. and the classifications are excellent, good, sufficient or poor. And I think the Bude Cleaner Seas project started because Bude was in danger of losing the good classification, but through the great work that's being done, it has been good last year, and I know that the team are now striving towards excellent, and how important that is. That is for the business of the town, the economy, and how you all feel about the town. So that's a fantastic thing to do. But the really exciting thing I'd like to do this morning is introduce the video from the Bude Cleaner Seas project, which I have seen, and I think it's absolutely delightful. And I'd like to introduce as well Molly and Ollie, who are film stars. Are you able to stand up, Molly and Ollie? Have you got Molly as well? I can't see her. But I think it was a fantastic piece of work. So without further ado, I will hand you over to Dave to show the video, because I won't touch it, it might not work. But thank you very much.
Bude is leading the way in cleaning up our rivers and seawater. We get many kinds of pollution in our water, such as plastic bags, bottles, chemicals, and even raw sewage from our toilets. People come from all around the world to visit Bude. Some go surfing, some go swimming, and some like to just play on the beach. But I love to go surfing.
I've established a surfing club about 8 to 10 years ago, and it was basically to incorporate some of the kids locally as well as kids that came from surrounding villages, to get them in the water on a Friday, and we'd go down and surf. It was absolutely amazing. It just rocketed within sort of the popularity, but that was often affected by the water quality. So I could run that club as long as the water was clean.
Our hotels and campsites are always full in the summer, but if Bude gets a reputation for poor water quality, visitors could be put off coming to our town. We must also encourage tourists to join us in keeping our water clean.
We as a business have a very environmentally friendly ethos. We try hard to communicate the relationship that the visitors would have towards the sea, for what they might put down the sink in the accommodation, the fats, putting wet wipes down the toilets right throughout the park.
What I've tried to do is to inform the young people of Bude that we need to keep our beaches clean. I've told them what you can do is maybe after a surf, as you walk out of the sea, you can pick up plastics, litter. If everybody does that, it's going to have a massive impact and help keep this place clean.
At least 50,000 people use the sea pool, minimum, a year. Whatever goes on in the sea is going on in the sea pool. So if the sea becomes polluted, then obviously we're concerned that the sea pool is likewise going to be polluted. It's vital that we keep the waters around Bude as clean as possible.
Molly, I know another reason why our water may get polluted. Bude farmers are working really hard to keep their yards clean and keeping the animals nourished from the rivers.
2 or 3 years ago now, we'd done some fencing down beside the stream to try and stop the animals from going into the stream, because it was just the water, and that was terrible really, you know. We fenced that off, and it's worked out very well. I just think that if all the farmers in the area can pull together and do a little bit to help the situation down in Bude or all in North Cornwall.
And South West Water are also working towards improving our water quality.
South West Water's been involved with Bude Cleaner Seas over the last 18 months, looking at trying to find misconnections on the sewerage network. Future plans for Bude in particular are very much about connect right, so getting people's misconnections out of the system, about ensuring that people use the sewerage network correctly. So the Love Your Loo style campaign, helping people to understand that the sewerage network is not a garbage disposal system.
Ollie, did you know a man comes to our beach and tests if our water is clean?
Bacteria we test for within this water are intestinal enterococci and E. coli, and if both of those exceed a certain set parameter, then the beach owner can advise against swimming.
If there is a significant pollution event, we would have to take the responsibility as to what course of action we think is appropriate. If it's a small-scale event, it could be as simple as putting up signs. If it's a significant event, then we would close the beach, and it's in our interests and the public interest to do that.
So from our perspective, if the beach was closed, it wouldn't stop people staying in the hotel, it wouldn't stop them sitting on the terrace, and it wouldn't stop them enjoying the fantastic sunset that we have. But basically they'd be looking at a beach that was closed, and nobody wants to look at a beach that's closed.
It's really important that we don't take it for granted that we live by the sea. I know what you mean. It makes me feel so happy.
We've been doing research over the last 5 years which is showing that living near and interacting with places like the Cornish coast is actually really good for people's mental health. People exercise more. We know that physical activity is good for health, but there's also obviously some psychological, what we call restoration. So the daily stresses build up. Going for a 20-minute plus walk along the beach, we've demonstrated several times now that this is really good for people's mental health.
It's super important that everyone does their bit to keep the water clean. Otherwise, our town and our wildlife will suffer. Follow Bude Cleaner Seas Project on Twitter and on Facebook to see how you can get involved.